This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Good morning, everyone. I'm First Alert Meteorologist CJ Cartledge here, filling in for meteorologist Evan Thomason, who is taking some well-deserved time off on this New Year's holiday. Also, Happy New Year to everyone out there that is listening right now. Today is New Year's Eve, so Happy New Year's Eve, Happy New Year. Either one works. For today, we're going to be talking about a couple of different topics here. We're going to be talking about first about the cool down that we had for earlier or last night. A cold front moved through, and it did bring us these much well-deserved or winter-like conditions that we have here in the Arklatex, with temperatures in the 50s for highs and in the 30s for lows. So some of you may not be happy about it, and others of you may be are happy about it. But me personally, I do like weather appropriate conditions. Like summertime, I like the, 90-degree temperatures out there and the 100-degree temperatures sometimes, not with the humidity that comes with being in the South. But I do like weather appropriate conditions, and we're expecting some weather appropriate conditions for today, tomorrow, the next day, and heading into our weekend here. We're expecting this cooler weather to last into 2025 here with the New Year's Day, starting out with the lows in the 30s across the region. That looks to be lasting for the next couple of days as well. We're also going to be talking about the potential for snow maybe in the month of January. I know we did receive a boatloads of some snow as I believe that was about a year ago, around January, I believe it was 14th through 15th, where it snowed. It didn't snow much, but there was it was mixed in with some very cold conditions around the Arklatex, and it did freeze the roads out there, and it provided some very dangerous conditions to be outside there on the roads. We sure don't want that to happen again, but we may receive another bit of some snow this winter as we move into the month of January. So let's take a quick look at the weather conditions right now. As you can see, mostly sunny conditions out there across the Arklatex. Currently, we're under a high pressure system, and we will be under this high pressure system even as we move through this work week, possibly moving away from us as maybe off to the north and east as we move into our Thursday, with some slight rain chances around the region. But we're not expecting much rain through this work week, but we are expecting a little bit of some rainfall as we move to the end of this 7-day period, which I will talk about in the next block. But I'm going to be talking about the near future for now. Across the area, similar conditions, not much really going on across the region for today and for the next day and the next day, I said before. But it is pretty windy out there. Wind gusts have got up to 25 miles per hour near the Queen and Nacogdoches. You might want to hold on to your hats if you're walking out the door through the daytime hours today, because it's definitely going to get pretty windy out there. Maybe wind gusts could get up to 30 miles per hour at times through the afternoon hours today. And it did for sure yesterday. I believe I saw a wind gust reading of 31 in Shreveport and Bossier, or some area down to the south and east here in our Louisiana parishes just yesterday. So it was pretty breezy yesterday. It's going to be breezy again for today, when sustained winds look to be between 10 to 15 miles per hour. But since it's a little bit cooler for today as opposed to the 70s we saw yesterday, we may receive a little bit of a wind chill out there. But talking about temperatures right now, we're mostly in the 50s now, but we're expecting the temperatures to rise well into the 50s across the area. Some of us for the southern half of the Arklatex may be in the lower 60s potentially, but it still nonetheless looks to be a little bit different, or a lot different as compared to yesterday. I'm actually going to move myself off the screen. I know I'm covering up the temperature here. There we go. Next 5 hours shows that breezy conditions look to persist through the daytime hours, as well as those temperatures remain suppressed in the 50s for today. And moving on to highs for today around the region, 52 looks to be the high for DeQueen, 53 near Idabel. I'm going to bring myself back on the screen here. 58 near Texarkana. 60s down near Mansfield and Center. I'm gonna move myself over here just so you guys can see the temperature here. Natchitoches at around 63 degrees, 62 near St. Augustine, 61 for Nacogdoches, 63 near Winfield, and 58 near Minden and Homer out there around the Arklatex. But today is New Year's Eve, so most people will be going out to watch the ball drop for tonight. If you're going out to watch the ball drop for to bring in the new year of 2025, we're expecting chilly conditions out there. I'm not sure why this changed, but it's supposed to be showing a clear and chilly night type of symbol there. Not much of sunshine. Didn't get to check that before the show, but it is what it is now. We're expecting temperatures in the 40s as we head towards the midnight hour. So definitely bring a light jacket if you're going to be out and about, especially if you're going to the festival that Tina B is hosting. I believe it's Rock. Can't remember the name just yet, but make sure to tune into that. It's at the Shreveport Convention Center tonight, and I believe it starts at 10 p.m. tonight. And Tina B will be hosting it, so make sure to tune into that. Tomorrow morning, we can expect temperatures across the area to be well into the 30s. This looks to be the start of the 30-degree trend in the morning hours here. 37 for Shreveport, 36 for Mansfield, 36 also in Coshada, 36 for Natchitoches, and 37 near Winfield. It looks to be near the freezing range up near DeQueen for tomorrow morning or tonight into tomorrow morning. 33 for Idabel, 34 near Mount Pleasant, 36 for Longview, and 37 near Nacogdoches for tomorrow morning. So it's definitely going to be pretty chilly out there, to say the least. These forecasted highs will be pretty stagnant within the 50s, if not the lower 60s out there for the next couple of days coming up. It's actually, I just found out the name of the festival. It's Rock the Clock here. I wasn't sure about the last phrase of it. I apologize for anybody that was disturbed by that. Rock the Clock, Red Carpet. We're streaming it on KSLA starting at 10 p.m. and it's hosted by Tina B. Make sure you guys tune in. But forecasted highs for the next 5 days show that we will be staying in those 50s across the area. 55 for Wednesday, 54 by Thursday, January 2nd. And we're expecting those highs to slowly rise up into the upper 50s by Friday into Saturday, and potentially hitting the lower 60s by the time we hit our Sunday across the region here. And even our lows, as said before, we'll stay in the 30s from Wednesday through the rest of the work week and into our Saturday. Upper 30s here expected for Shreveport and Bossier, but some areas could get down to the freezing range or even below the freezing range. By the time we hit our Sunday, we're expecting a sharp rise in those low temperatures, mainly because of higher rain chances on our Sunday. That also comes with a substantial cool down that I'll also be talking about in just a couple minutes here. And as you can see, taking a quick look at that First Alert 7-day forecast, New Year's Eve will bring sunny and dry conditions around the Arklatex with no rain chances at all. We're expecting some slight rain chances on Thursday, though, mainly due to southerly flow returning and the movement of this high pressure system moving off to the north and east of us. And that will bring back the southerly flow, but not much rain is expected across the Arklatex, and that rain chance could be lower for Shreveport and Bossier. It looks to be higher for areas down to the south of Shreveport and Bossier. Highs are expected to lower out into the lower 50s by the time we hit our Thursday. And as we head into Friday and Saturday, highs are expected to rise into the upper 50s before they reach the lower 60s by the time we hit our Sunday. That is actually our next weather maker, which is actually going to bring a quick round of storms and a substantial cool down. And as you can see, by next Monday, we can expect highs to reach down into the 40s. Yes, I said the 40s, the mid 40s to be exact by next Monday, and we could be even lower than that for the next few days afterwards. So that is definitely something that we'll be talking about, and it has been creating a lot of buzz here on social media and different outlets. Of course, here at the KSLA First Alert Weather Center, all of us have been talking about the major cool down that is expected by next Sunday into our next work week, which is actually start of the first full week in January. And we've been tracking it out, and hopefully conditions look to stay that way because it's a pretty big change for sure. We like to forecast big change, or at least I like to forecast big changes. And yeah, that is something that is on the way for us and is looking very likely that it may happen. But I'll be talking more about that coming up after this quick break. I'm going to take a 2 minute commercial break here, and I'm going to come back to talk to you guys about in detail about this cool down that we can expect by the beginning of next week. Stay tuned till after the break. And welcome back, everyone. I'm First Alert Meteorologist once again, talking to you about the upper level pattern first. Here we have we're going to enter a zonal pattern here in the Arclitex, which is a meteorological term for east to west upper level winds here. And as we move through this work week, this will keep our highs pretty stagnant in the 50s throughout our Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and even Friday coming up. We could hit more into the lower 60s in some spots as we move into our Saturday here. But as you can see, the big pattern change looks to be on our Thursday, though, where the upper level ridge here, the upside down smiley face there, causes a slight warming trend. That means warmer air is expected to move northward in the Arclitex from the south here. And that will continue to move through the region or move closer into the region. Will be encompassed by this not high pressure system, but a ridge, upper level ridge. As we move into the weekend, that will cause a slight warming trend for the Arclitex, and we could see some lower 60s across the region. But there, the smiley face there with the green colors, that is cooler air waiting to set into the Arclitex. Cooler air from Canada, from the Arctic area there is expected to move into the Arclitex along with a low pressure system that will also bring a strong cold front here into the region. And that cold front seems to be pretty substantially moving through, and it will lower highs down to well below the average for this time of year. And as we head into our Monday, this upper level low or upper level trough, as what we call it, the smiley face there with the greenish colors, that will move off to the north and east, leaving us very, very cold and unlike temperatures or unseasonable for this time of year. It's going to be well below the average for this time of year heading into next week. And associated with this upper level trough is a low pressure system, as said before, and this will move through, bringing us a quick round of storms and much, much, much cooler air looking to set in right afterwards here. It's going to be actually moving through the entire United States, or most of the United States, actually, starting from the Rockies over to the east, and most of the eastern and midwestern United States. They will all receive cooler than average temperatures for this time of year after this front moves through. Just to give you guys a quick gist and comparison of how cool we may be, these are the chances that areas will be likely above average or likely below average for this time of year. And as I said before, near those the Rocky Mountains there near Denver and eastward is expected to receive trending below or likely a below average temperatures for next week. And that's actually for the next 6 to 10 days, I believe, which goes into much of next week. Shreveport and Bossier is under that purplish color, which is likely below the average. And actually, most of the eastern United States and Midwestern United States are under the likely below average range there, with even some areas near Atlanta and encompassing states like Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, and parts of Virginia and North Carolina, South Carolina. They will receive the coolest of the air through the next 6 to 10 days here. So that is definitely pretty dangerous in some spots, because the lows could lower out to the 20s in some areas, and for some other areas, we could see the teens in some regions here through parts of next work week. Taking a quick look at future track temperatures and looking at what we can expect through the beginning of the new work week here. Sunday morning, we can expect temperatures well into the 60s or possibly the 50s out there in some regions because of the threat for higher rain chances. And this low pressure system moving through, it tends to bring the lows closer to the highs here. We could see highs well into the 70s before the front arrives and brings those rain showers. But look at the temperature difference from Sunday afternoon and going into Monday morning. As you can see, this front looks to move through. We're already down into the 30s by Monday at 2 a.m., according to future track temperatures. And we could see the lower 30s and upper 20s out there by Monday morning, early Monday morning, just around the sunrise hours, maybe around 6 or 7. So if you saw those temperatures before I had moved it down here, or moved it to Monday morning, they were in the 70s and 60s there. If you did not catch that, there it is again. 60s across the area, and some areas reaching the lower 70s. And we could definitely see the 20s just in less than 12 hours later, or the 30s in less than 12 hours later. And highs not too far away from those lows. We could potentially reach only the upper 30s and lower 40s across the region. So definitely some serious cold air looking to move through, serious Arctic air, or what we call is an Arctic blast, as we move through the beginning of the new work week. And on Tuesday morning, looks to be even worse than that. We could see the lower 20s out there. We could see the teens potentially in some spots around the area by Tuesday morning. So definitely, once again, some dangerous air looking to move through Wednesday morning. Next Wednesday morning looks to be a similar pattern, maybe warming up a little bit, but it won't be that much of a difference here. Definitely some Arctic air looking to move through the Arclitex by next week here. And just taking a quick look at since we looked at the temperature outlook, I'm going to be looking at the precipitation outlook. There also been some, there's also been some talk around the town about potentially that we'll get some snow in January. That's another one of our topics for today. And the precipitation outlook shows that we'll be trending above the average, so we could possibly receive some snow as we move into the next 6 to 10 days, or at least into next week. But we've been tracking that out, and we're going to track that out with Long Range Future Track right now, actually. This is a lower resolution model, so take this with a grain of salt, because we're going to go way out in the future. Most of our forecasts that are more than 7 days out are not as accurate as 7 days and below. And that goes for every meteorologist out there, or in every forecast out there. Forecast chances or forecast certainty gets lower and lower as the days goes on. So the forecast certainty for 1 day to 3 days is definitely a lot more than 5 to 7 days out, and especially more than 7 to 12 days out. So we're going to be going out way into next week here. We're expecting dry conditions all the way up until potentially on Thursday, where we could see some slight rain chances around the region, mainly for our southern half of the Arclitex here. with this lower resolution model. Drier conditions look to set back in as we head into our Thursday and Friday. As we head into the weekend, we can expect these conditions to still remain mostly dry, but that low pressure system will start to develop and move through the Arklatex as we move into our Sunday. Hold on, this may jump out ahead a little bit here. Just be warned. Okay, there we go. We're going to go back. Here's Saturday. As you can see, we're dealing with mostly dry conditions, maybe a few slight rain chances out there, but the low pressure system will start to develop here and form and move through the region. We're expecting some higher end rain chances for our Sunday coming up. And also, potentially, depending on where this system may be, we could see some snow around the Arklatex. As you can see, the northern half of that low pressure system there, or it's just the barrier between the freezing point and the non-freezing point. So that rain shows everywhere you see the rain shows the freezing point where most layers in the atmosphere will be above freezing, and most areas will be below freezing, just north of the pink line that you see there above the banner. This system looks to be moving out by the time we hit the evening hours on Sunday. And as we head into our Monday, much cooler air seems to be setting in, and that looks to last all the way into the much of the work week coming up. And even for the next few days afterwards, we're expecting dry conditions, mostly sunny conditions, according to our 12-day forecast, which I could show just a quick moment here. As you can see, showing you guys the full 12-day forecast here for the last 5 days of the forecast period. As you can see, there's the 40s there. Like I said before, the forecast certainty is a little bit uncertain there, so the temperatures could vary a lot throughout that 10-degree range there. It could go up to a different 10-degree range, maybe the 50s at some points, but the forecast is pointing towards 40s for at least the next 5 days after Monday, going into January 11th, but mostly dry conditions by then. So we're most likely to receive some rain on Sunday, not as much snow. So if you guys are hoping for snow, just keep your fingers crossed, because we still have the whole month of January and February, the rest of the season actually, to potentially receive some snowfall. But since we're so far in the south, it does not look to be so likely, but we can always have hope, you know. I'm not going to kill your dreams on that. We're expecting the 40s for the last 5 days of the 12-day period here. So much cooler air is expected to set in, and where highs are expected to drop into the 40s and lows into the 20s out there. So definitely some dangerous cold air expected to move in, and this looks to be around the time frame where kids are going back to school, I believe. So definitely want to buy the big coats if you don't have them. It's going to be very, very cold out there. I can't even say chilly, because chilly, I would say, was the range between like 30s, 40s, upper 30s, lower 40s out there, maybe even the 50s. I would say it's chilly. Like today, this morning was pretty chilly. But I would say this area seems to be very, very cold, and we could see some 30s for the highs in some spots around the region as well. So yeah, that's the forecast on that, and I'll be taking another break here, another 2-minute break, commercial break for just to wrap up the show, just to wrap up what we talked about here for today, and make sure to stay tuned after the break for the preview of our next episode coming up later in the week, and I'll see you after this quick break. And welcome back, everyone. I'm First Alert Meteorologist once again, CJ Cartledge. Just to wrap up the show a little bit, we're expecting some cooler temperatures on the way, at least for the rest of this week and heading into next week as well. I'm going to actually give you guys a quick look at what the National Weather Service is saying in terms of this system here, or this system that is expected to bring in the much cooler air into the Arctic. Much colder temperatures are on the way just after the new year. Key messages that they are saying are there is high confidence of below average temperatures across the U.S. from the middle to the later part of next week. And right now, there's a 50% chance of overnight temperatures being less than 20 degrees Fahrenheit in the northern half of the four-state region, which is the Arklatex, with a 30% chance in the southern half. Although more uncertainty exists, there's a non-zero possibility of wintry precipitation coincided with these colder temperatures. Expect more clarity over the coming days. So basically what they're saying is there is a coin flips chance of us receiving the teens in terms of lows for some nights starting next week, as well as a non-zero chance. So the chance is low for us receiving any type of snow next week or beyond, but it's not zero. So it may be 0.1, but there's a chance. There is a chance. Let's keep hope alive. Let's keep those fingers crossed for those that are hoping for snow. But through the rest of this week, we're not expecting much rain showers other than on our Sunday coming up. That will bring the much needed rainfall to knock out these drought conditions that we still have. But it's going to be mostly quiet out there. Highs will be in the 50s, lows will be in the 30s. It's a typical winter pattern for this time of year in Shreveport and Bossier. You know, it's weird for me to say that because 50s, I could say, is like fall weather for me because I grew up in the north and east in Maryland. That's where I grew up. 50s, I would think is like fall weather type of deal. But in the south here, that's seasonable for this time of year. So we have to be glad about that. We are getting a little bit some consistency with the weather, and the weather is normally very inconsistent here. So if you guys have any more questions or concerns or anything you want us to talk about here on the KSLA First Alert Weather Breakdown, please email us at weatherbreakdown at ksla.com or message us on Facebook at KSLA Weather Team or KSLA First Alert Weather Team, and join us weekdays streaming at 10:30 a.m. You can either message all of us here on Facebook. I am at c.j.cartledge. Austin Evans is at his name, Austin Evans, and meteorologist Evan Thomason on Facebook, as well as meteorologist Matt Jones on Facebook as well. But yes, I'm going to be wrapping up the show here. I appreciate you guys for tuning in and watching me and listening to me talk about these colder temps on the way. I get a little bit excited about change here in the Arklatex, but not too much change. I want a little bit consistency as well as a little bit of some change at the end of that consistency, you know. And it seems like we're going to be getting just that. Highs will be in the 50s throughout the rest of this week. And we're expecting the big change to occur where we're expecting a quick round of some storms as of right now. That's what the forecast is telling us, as well as a major cool down looking to arrive by Sunday night into our Monday. So that is definitely something to watch out for. That's something to stay first aware and first alert to in the coming days. As the National Weather Service has said, we have a 50% chance of receiving temperatures in the teens by sometime next week, or in the mornings and sometime next week, as well as the 30% chance of receiving temperatures below 20 degrees Fahrenheit for the southern half of the Arklatex. So yes, something to look forward to in the coming days, but I'm going to hop off of here. Thank you so much for tuning in to KSLA First Alert Weather Breakdown. And always make sure to tune in on weekdays at 10:30. Our next show actually will be on Friday when Evan comes back. He has an interview with someone to talk about how to prevent fires during the winter season. I know you guys may be turning on the heat a little bit too much or using appliances a little bit too much. He's going to be talking to you guys in an interview about how to prevent fires during the winter season, because there could be some overuses of some machineries that could cause fires. So he'll be talking to you. He'll be back and talking to you about that on Friday at 10:30 a.m. Make sure to have a great rest of your day. Happy New Year, everyone. This is the just wrapping up the final show of 2024. I just realized that. Thank you guys for a great, I believe this was 6 months of the show. And I'm wishing for another 6 months or another year of great shows here on the KSLA First Alert Weather Breakdown. Thank you guys so much for having me, and I'll see you later.